Well, the thing your guest there, the guy who started Ong's Hat, said that really stuck with me. Other than that, he would help you go into the woods and only drink water for 4 days if you wanted to. But the idea to take 2 weeks off of the internet and get out into nature and relax, to me, that's really what I need to do with this book. I need to just get this book and some water and, go out and just get far enough away that I can listen. Don't hear nothing. All right, let's read Esoteric and see what it has to say.
Welcome back to another episode of the One-on-One Podcast. I'm your host, as always. Make sure to follow the show on social media at the One-on-One Podcast on pretty much all social media platforms, tjojp.com. And guys, we finally got by the time you're listening to this, we do have a new Occultist Munday, the Occultist Munday Homunculus edition. It's 88 pages. I'm not going to cut that out. We're raw dogging it here. So
that's right.
88 pages of homunc goodness with one-of-a-kind illustrations, because I am the true homunculus, the homunculologist, the last living one. I'm the true one. And if you see anyone else saying that, they're a poser and they're an imposter, and they're actually my homunculus. Little do they know. So make sure to check that out. It's on the website, but you can go to ko-fi.com/TJOJP. We also got the Occultist Mondays professionally printed for once, because I would print these by hand and assemble these by hand until just recently. So we got these all on there. We also have the new comic book, issue number 2 and issue number 1 will be on there. And you can also make sure to check out Paranormality Magazine. The link is in the description of how to get a discount using code TJOJP. Look at that. What does that say there? Florida's homunculologist Juan, the one and only. All right. So if anyone says this, that they're liars and they're actually homunculi. So make sure to check that out. If you want more of the show, patreon.com/the One-on-One Podcast. All that good stuff. If you're on YouTube, sign up for the members, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Sean, it's been way too long, bro. Last time I had you on, it was episode 93.
Of course it was. Has it been that long? Oh, we've been in touch on some get-togethers with like Donut and stuff like that. But yeah, a proper episode. It's good to be back. I'm happy to be here. I don't have mine hooked up yet, but maybe I should put my SM7B down in here so it looks like I have one. It's not plugged in, but getting official here.
Nice.
I finally got my studio start to be set up over here. I would pick up my laptop and pan around the room, but maybe I'll do that later when we're not recording.
That's in true RX Picture Show fashion. I mean, for those that don't know, Sean was one of the first podcasts I ever listened to before I even started podcasting. Obviously your work, actually dove in. At first it was just the metaphorical tip of the esoteric realm, and then I went ahead and did the whole shaft of the occult in there, all the way down to the balls, where the homunculi reside. And I think that's when you're met with the balls, I think that's where you start diving into the homunculus and everything, because it's proper, right? I mean...
Well, that's what happens. I mean, people don't realize that once you get to the balls, the penis metaphysically extends all the way through. And we don't want to say where it comes back to, but it does come back. And now you become the Ouroboros. And that's what happens, That's why it's the skull method,
The Bach Saga guys are onto something 100%. So...
yeah, well, they were sucking it, but really you're supposed to... Never mind. I'm not going to say the next part.
Sean, do you want to plug your stuff to where people can find you? I know you're certified.
Oh, I'm going to have to get you a link. I am a certified release coach, but I haven't really been doing no work like that right now. Just taking a break. I mean, you know how things are, man. Main thing I'm doing right now is gardening. You can find all of the links to me and my social media addiction on sbalger.com, or you can search for me on Twitter. It's at Sonio, Sewno. But the main thing is all the links are there on espiage.com. The website's a little stale right now. I had that panic this morning. I'm sure you're familiar. Like, oh my God, I haven't looked at my website or updated it for how long? And then I just put it back out of my mind, like there's no traffic there anyway. So what am I worried about? Right. So, but the one thing I'm trying to promote, I'll say it at the beginning and I'll say it again. I got risky the other day on Facebook and I'm like, hey, I put a bunch of my art up on this website called Fine Arts America, right? And I just decided 99 of these digital creations that I have are going to have to be up here. And so I noticed as I'm putting them up there, like, hey, you can make like a handbag, you can make a pillow. But I fell in love with the idea of the shower curtain. And so I thought I'm going to go to the link where it's only my shower curtains. There's about 82 of them or something. And I'm going to put it on Facebook and say, hey, nobody's ever bought a shower curtain yet. WTF, let's go. Somebody get a shower curtain. And my coach, my one that trained me to be a release coach, Beth Martins, had me modify and change the color of one of my pieces, which is possible. For her, I did it for free. If you're hearing this right now, I might have to charge you $15 to modify it if that's what you want. But she bought a shower curtain. So I'm so excited to see. So maybe I'll make sure you have the link. And anybody who wants to buy a shower curtain, I'll make the same offer I made to Beth, a secret special bonus prize. If you show me the receipt that you definitely ordered a shower curtain. And then, of course, what I want is photography of it in your bathroom. If you could have somebody sit on the toilet and hold open Juan's magazine, this is ideal. This is the kind of stuff I'm looking for. So,
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, let's go ahead and at least one person, all right, of the thousands of people listening, buy a curtain. Now, I would buy one, but except I don't have curtains. I have the metal doors, so...
Yeah, a friend of mine asked me that from he's a guy that's got an interesting theory about that box stock of stuff. But he said, what did he call it? He says, so is that common for you guys to have a curtain and not have a shower cabinet? And I'm like, a shower cabinet.
What?
But then I realized, he's just talking about that. In the United States, typically we will call it an enclosure, right? If it's got the metal doors, it opens this way, or the sliding metal doors that everybody hates, and you can't sit on the edge of a shower cabinet. I'm like, a shower cabinet. What is it? And then, it clicks.
So what?
Because I think the same thing. He would have bought a curtain, but you can't put one in your shower cabinet.
No.
I don't want you to have it on the shelf don't do it like a tapestry. If you're going to get a tapestry, just get a regular one. Don't pin the shower curtain on the wall. That'd be
weird, right?
That bad, yeah.
That would be weird.
Unless you're a punk rocker.
And he's from Sweden or something like that, because in Sweden do they have, it's more, they have bidets in other countries, and that's changed my life, bro, having a bidet.
Yeah, me too.
I haven't turned back, because you can't be walking around with a dirty asshole. That's just and the people, the Muslims, they do it. They have to have one. And the reason I know that's because I've watched 90 Day Fiance, where they get the Muslim guy, and he's like, no, I need the bidet because I can't be worshiping Allah with a dirty butthole. So that makes.
I forgot. I used to know the name of the Sawidi. There's a name for the whole ritual of having to ritually cleanse yourself. There's a word for it. I don't remember. I thought it was Sawidi. That might not be right. But yeah. I told my friends when I first, I got on a rabbit hole on that one time and told my friends, like, I'm so glad being a Christian like I am that.
Is it Tahara?
Oh man, I'd have to look it up. I could pop up with a second
purity.
browser.
So Tahara, Islamic ritual, purification, cleanliness, and hygiene.
Yeah, so that might be, but there's a
voodoo.
There's a ritual. There you go, voodoo. I had it wrong, but I just made me so happy. All the times I read the Bible, I never saw specific details about what I need to do in the bathroom. And I was like, thank you, Lord, for not putting specific details in the scriptures, because these guys are stuck with it, man. All I said, do this. Well, if you following, you better do it. It's specific details of how you act in the bathroom. So I was like, man, not that I think there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just lazy. So I'm glad that God doesn't have special, like a bullet list I need to go down, or a checklist, real quick. And I've heard the complaints from some of the practicing Muslims that, so you go through all the steps, but then if you backpedal and something happens, you got to start over, And so that's it. Cause you hit the point and now you're cleansed. Just like the bidet, if you're using the bidet, there's certain steps you're going to go through, and if you mess up, you're going to go back to that first button and push it just to be safe. You're gonna, and it's the same. So I'm glad that I don't have a ritual requirement from Jesus about how to act in the bathroom.
How to wash your asshole. So listen, dude, Here's something that I've been thinking about recently, because it's, and being on the internet, how you said, I think before we started recording, how we all know the internet is fake and gay, but we're all addicted to it in some sort of way. And it feels like,
Yeah.
I try and keep in mind that 90% of the interactions on the internet, they're so dumb, they're so stupid and retarded that I go, okay, there's no way this can be a real life person. This has to be a bot. This has to be some artificial intelligence that somebody, because this, what they're saying is so just stupid. Now, when we're in this bubble of being in this esoteric occult realm, and we're sharing ideas and conversations with like-minded people, we forget that there's a whole nother one. Let's use a RAW, a term, reality tunnel. All right, we're all shoved in our own reality tunnels, and we're put into this, and you forget that there is a whole nother reality outside that doesn't even believe in any of this. And the way I know this is I've been making a lot of clips, and they've been hitting a lot of normies, a lot of regular people.
Yeah, I see them. They're good, man. They're very good, just so you know that.
Thanks, bro. And I had one take off recently on Instagram, and I think it's 500,000 or somewhere near there.
Nice. And you said you use a certain number of words. You said 240, 241.
I try to keep it around 230 to 240 words is what I try and do. And so
that was fascinating to me. So
this particular one took off, and it's about the submersible, the co-founder of the Titan, the Ocean Gate submersible.
Right.
One of the founders, which I believe is a Brazilian, is going to go to a blue hole, Dean's blue hole. Okay, now that sounds kind of weird, but Dean's blue hole, depending on which source you go by, is either 200.
Is that like a blue waffle or something different?
No, it's you know those here. I'll pull it up here. Dean's blue. They're gonna violate Dean's blue hole, guys. All right, they're gonna go down into Dean's blue hole, and Dean's blue hole is in the Bahamas, and it's interesting because the locals believe that this is actually a place, a portal to hell, and depending on which source you go by, it's either 202, which is 663 feet, or 203 meters, which is 666 feet. Okay, so depending on which source you go by.
All right, okay, so they're gonna put their little submersible in that and go down, huh?
And they're gonna explore it. Now, here, mind you, the local people believe that it's a portal to hell. People, the locals believe that there's demons that come out of this hole. It's unexplored. And so I put this out and I related it to the submersible and my whole theory on it being a ritual. And all the comments have been about 98% of the comments have been, did you take your meds? Schizophrenic. I love schizogram. Of people sending me DMs on like just being mean, just like, they're in your walls. Make sure to check your walls. They're in your walls. Like over and over and over. Like, oh yeah,
rattle one's cage.
Yeah. So, but I'm not a schizo. But where do you draw the line between like coincidence? Because we can get into Robert Anton Wilson, where it's like, what is a synchronicity? What is a pattern that you're looking at? But on top of that, we get so used to being shielded from the outside of people who don't believe in this sort of stuff. Right. That when they do start
terminally online, exactly. People who are terminally online, we're so accustomed to our reality tunnel. We've got posters on the walls. We've got an area that we haven't dusted.
Our algorithm.
The reality tunnel. Yeah. And so it's true. And I can imagine you making clips generates a lot of that, because then these people are what we would call hobbyists, casually online. They're on their lunch break. Maybe they still smoke a cigarette. They're like, hey, I'm going to look at Instagram real quick. They're not like,
what kind of schizophrenic is this?
4 hours today, probably, So I'll be on there. I'll see you on Instagram, And so that's, I don't know. See, to me, it's hard not to attack those people to get back. Not a genuine attack, but like, hey, you're poking the bear. You're not terminally online. Like, you don't walk into a Hell's Angels bar and sit down and order a beer. That's a bad idea. If you know it's a Hell's Angels bar, you don't go inside, because you're not a Hell's Angel.
Mm-hmm.
So don't poke Juan, the homunculologist from Florida, and expect. I would troll him. You should send him some Muslim bidet videos or something without no comments.
Well, so you touch on my next point, because it's like when you present an idea, right? Just spitballing. Now, this is a weird area to be in, because people will say that my videos are bad for society, that they're bad for the common people, that it's spreading false ideas and stuff like that. And I go,
fake news.
I go, wait a minute. Do you enjoy TV shows? Do you enjoy movies? These are productions that are millions and millions of dollars that are known for spreading propaganda. On top of that, we know that movies spread propaganda. We know TV shows spread propaganda. But yeah, you're worried about my little video on Facebook or wherever it is that it's on the internet.
Yeah, TikTok, Instagram.
That's hypocritical. And that's why I go, okay, well, then the typical, this person's an agent, right? There's no way that this person's real, because how are you going to be worried about? And a lot of the stuff that I talk about, dude, is historical. Just go look it up. Go Google it. But since it's not in their mainstream, but here, this is where the next thing goes into this whole ideology of, you got dudes who are reading a book from thousands of years ago that says, hey, you got to make sure your asshole's clean. And they're not going to worship unless their asshole's clean, because of that one book that was written thousands of years ago, and they follow it to the T. And that's what I can respect about Muslims, bro, that they pray every single day at the same exact time. They have the routine over and over again. I can respect that, because
me too.
From a Christian perspective, at least I wasn't doing any of that and I didn't know anyone else who was living by the standards of, like, hey, doing that sort. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I understand most, especially, I mean, with Protestantism and the way it is, like, if you get over into the more actually practicing Catholics, Orthodox, and some of the Mennonites or the Quakers and those people, then you start to see that actual developed Christian culture over there. But most Protestantism is just like most people are sitting in church wishing they had stayed home to watch the football game or whatever. They're not. They show up on Sunday, they sing a little bit, they read a little bit, maybe they go back on Wednesday or something if they got teenagers, and that's it. Not that they might not be reading their Bible at home, but it's not a dogmatic, redundant, ritualistic routine that connects you to God. Like the Muslims pray 5 times a day, no matter where they're at. I've seen them hitting it up in the city, like, oh, this guy's different. He's gone down the alley, around the corner to try to make himself a private spot. He's got his prayer mat with him wherever he goes, and he's busting it out, and I definitely respect that.
Yeah, I've always respected that, like the devotion to that. Because if you're going to do it, you might as well do it right. If you're going to do it, just go in all the way, balls deep. And so how much do you know about Orthodox Christianity? Because I've been seeing that going around a lot. And it's another one of these things where it's like, oh, they believe that they're the ones. So it's like, well, what's different?
Of course.
What's different from them?
So I know some about them. I'm pretty fascinated with it as far as so what they say is that Orthodoxy is the contemplative Eastern branch of Christianity, and so I don't remember what year, but it was way back, like 1000 or 1200. I don't remember, but there was a disagreement about some tiny little snippet of text, of course, about whether or not it had something to do with the Trinity, of how the Holy Spirit is related to God the Father. Now, I could be wrong. They call it the Great Schism, but this is the confusing thing that has allowed the Orthodox claims that they are the ones that are carrying on the true original church. And of course, the Catholics say, nah, we had that disagreement, we busted off, and now we're the true church, and all this kind of stuff. And so, but I've never been to an Orthodox service. I've kind of felt called to go check it out a few times, but I've just never, how it is, like you feel like I could do that, but you don't actually pull the trigger and go. And it's very different from what I've described. I do know a few people who practice Orthodoxy. So it's like 4 or 5 hours where the priest and his helper are doing all this stuff, burning incense, lighting candles, saying prayers, singing. And so it's not anything like Protestant church where you show up and, like I said, kick the kids out to go over to their Sunday school thing, and now you're going to sing a song. Maybe there's some announcements. The preacher preach, maybe if you're lucky, for 20, 30 minutes at the max, sing another song, say a prayer, and call it good, right? Like that's most Protestant churches. Whereas the service, like you stand up in Orthodoxy, you don't sit down. The priest sits and the congregation remains standing. And so if it's an extended, more traditional, old-fashioned service, from what I've heard, you could be standing there for 3 or 4 hours.
Whoa.
And the combination, and there's icons everywhere, which is pictures of Jesus, pictures of Mary, pictures of the saints, and some sculpture also. I think the Catholics are a little bit more into the three-dimensional icons, but I only ever went to a Catholic church once when I was a kid, and it tripped me out. My next door neighbor was Catholic, so he said, "You want to go to church?" And I'm like, "Sure." And you go in there, and there's like a little padded kneeling thing that lowers down, because you got to you're following what the priest is saying as he's putting on the service. And then you're glancing at your homeboy who you came with, and he's getting ready to kneel down. So you got to kneel down. Okay, so now we're kneeling down. Oh, okay, now you got to stand back up, and they put the little cubby hole thing back out of the way, the kneeling pad. So that tripped me out when I was 11 or 12. I was like, I don't think I want to do this again. It just seems too labor intensive for an 11-year-old.
and looking at all these different denominations, because that's one thing too, where people are on the internet, people want to argue about everything. So you're going to have a whole bunch of different interpretations. So if I end up pissing off one branch of Christianity for whatever reason, I go, oh, which one of the 45,000 are you? It's like, oh, okay. You can't even, you're never right. And that's why listening to people's material, like, how do you say his name? Amon Hillman. Where
I think it's Amon Hillman, yeah.
Bro, he's putting out this crazy, and I remember a while back we had talked about him, and I had learned about him through you, where I found the Chemical Muse book, and I think you and I had talked for a little bit, and I was like, oh, this is all right. So I had seen the book before, and then you and I talked about it, and I was like, hey, bro, this is a pen name. I was like, this isn't a real guy. I've tried looking for him before. You're like, no. Here's the guy. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's the guy? And you're like, yeah, this is him. And I go, dude, I never knew it was a real guy. I always thought it was a pseudonym, because the stuff that he's saying is
he's off the deep end,
bro.
And plus, he's the most blatant and open and subtle academic Satanist I've ever seen. There's lots of people who are edgelords and being devil worshippers, and I don't worship Satan, I worship Lucifer and all that stuff. And of course, I don't got no problem. Do whatever you're gonna do, that's fine. But this guy is something different. His channel's called Lady Babylon 666, and he's literally like, "Hail Satan, what's up? We're gonna we're gonna learn about Satan today." And I enjoy his content, but to me, he seems a little off. So sometimes that bothers me, that there's something, and it's not just him. There's lots of people that get in this zone of hyper focus, and it's almost like a mania. I'm not calling him manic. I get it too. You get in the zone, and you're on a roll, and now you're moving. And something about when he does that, it gives me the EBGBs. Like him and Gnostic Informant get going on it, and I'm like, sometimes I just got to kill it. And I'm not judging them, but just not for me at the time sometimes.
I tried looking for the messages when you and I first talked about it. I can't find them, but it seems like there's something, because I told, when Mark first had him on, I told him, I'm like, yeah, this dude, in my opinion, I mean, he was investigated for possession, and it seems like he's a little possessed, bro. I don't know. He's like, he's like a character, bro. He's a character. The way he talks, and and that they were doing the purple stuff, like that kind of. So I'm like,
I know.
But
if this is how he's willing to act live on his YouTube with his guests and his people that he's interviewing, what's he like when he's just at home?
Well, he went through like a sort of transformation, bro. Because if you looked at him, back then he was, had a little weight on him when he first. If you look at his old videos from years ago, and you look at him now, and there's a transformation there. And I think that because here's the thing, bro.
And he tattooed his head. I saw that. Put some tattoos on his head.
We're all interpreting all this mythological occult. I seen somebody on Twitter the other day was like, if you're going to read about the occult, don't read Crowley or take anyone else's interpretation for it. And I'm like, yeah, but how many people can read Greek? How many people can read freaking Aramaic or Arabic or whatever? You can't.
Right.
And now it's gotten to the point where you can use AI to take the OCR, the text, and you take that and you can plug it into another AI and translate it, and it's pretty good. But it takes time. You know, and I've been thinking about jumping back on my commentary of Genesis by what the hell is his name? I talked about on the podcast before.
I mean, I've listened to a few of those, and I don't remember the guy that did that. You talk about how Genesis, like just the first few verses, is like this whole huge, deeply extrapolated alchemical thing, right?
Yeah. So his name was, I have to find I believe it was Gutman. Forgot the name of it.
Hillman gives Greek lessons. We could jump in his classes.
So I did reach out to him. Now, I didn't reach out to him for the typical, hey, I want to talk about the same shit you've talked about on the last 20 podcasts that you've been on.
Because he's blowing up. I see him everywhere now. You know that one Bible scholar that's on, he does all the YouTube shorts and everything, and I'm pretty sure he's affiliated with the Latter-day Saints. But I would never, he'll like, his videos are popular because he makes a correction. He's like, hey, all the Christians think this, but I'm a Bible scholar, and I'm here to tell you that's not true.
Yeah, he's poking the bear, bro, which pisses everyone. And they start to click and clack away like, no, you're right. You're wrong because of...
Right, my grandma told me that was true, so you're definitely wrong because grandma can't be wrong.
Exactly. So the guy I'm talking about is Agadeus Gutman, which was it's a pen name. I think it was a group of people, and they wrote, it's 1,200 pages of... I actually hired a German scholar to correct some of the text for me. And that's why for those supporting the show, all this stuff is possible because of the people supporting the show, because we're using the money for actual research. Okay. Where the clips cost money, all that stuff costs money. I have an editor for that and everything. So thank you for those that are supporting the show on Patreon or through purchasing the Occultist Munday.
I thought you said you were going to buy Nick Cage's snakeskin jacket from Wild at Heart.
Listen, dude. Listen. Long legs. Also, I had a weird synchronicity before we get into this whole Goodman stuff. Right? We have ADD or ADHD, whatever. We always jump from topic to topic whenever you and I are talking. So I had a weird synchronicity with Mr. Cage, and so much so that I even sent it to Weston. I'm like, bro, this is crazy. He's like, bro, that is wild, right?
I haven't watched that episode, the second one yet. I got to check that out. Thank you for saying his name so I remember.
Wait, which second one? I did no. I've only done one. That was a clip of the same episode.
But yeah, I did watch the first one. It was good. Anyway, go ahead.
So
synchronicity, of course, involving the King of Kings, Nick Cage.
Well, not the King of Kings. I don't know why I call him the King of Kings, but you know what I'm saying. The Church of Cage, whatever, the St. Nicholas. And so he's coming out with a new horror movie, which comes out, I think, on the 12th or something like that soon. Long Legs, Nick Cage. It's coming out.
Doing a bunch of that because I watched the one with
Arcadian?
Renfield.
Oh, Renfield. Yeah. So it's coming out on the 12th, okay? And so I had asked West if he had seen it. He's like, no, I actually haven't seen it, blah, blah, blah. And so the official trailer dropped yesterday, I believe it was, or the day before, the 3rd or the 4th, whichever one. And I'm watching the trailer, and they're saying that people are having mental breakdowns watching this movie. They say it's the scariest movie of all time. Like, it's up there with, like, I think somebody said The Shining or something, some crazy movie where, like, super scary. I'm like, yo. So he plays a serial killer in the movie, but now it's tied to the occult and all that stuff. So I'm watching this trailer, and I had dropped the clip about the day before that trailer dropped. The day before I had dropped a clip about Google potentially censoring the Dragon of Revelation 12. And in the clip, Revelation is my favorite book in the Bible. It's the first book I ever read. And I think that's really one of the ones that like sparked all this crazy, because it's very alchemical as well. So I cite Revelation 12:3, which is, and the dragon with the 7 heads and a crown on each head, blah, blah, blah. And in this trailer, one of the characters says that same verse, bro.
Bro, give you a little EBGBs, make the hair stand up on your arm.
What are the chances?
I was like, hold on just a minute here.
That's what I'm saying, bro. That it's like, wait a minute. Like, so I sent it to
Weston.
No. Well, I sent it to Weston, and I had sent the trailer to Joel Thomas, who he does my clips, and I'm like, bro. He's like, yeah, I seen that. I was like, no, this is the new one, and I was like, yo, check out the verse that they use in this. He's like, bro, that's weird. I'm like, yeah, that is weird, because literally the day before I had said it. So I don't know, man. I don't know if Mr.
You know what's gonna happen if you keep doing this? One of these days you're gonna drop your wallet at the grocery store, and you're gonna be standing up, and you're gonna be 3 inches from Nick Cage face to face.
I don't think I think it's gonna happen, just not that way. I think it's gonna happen another way. I think it's gonna end up happening. So I've been having, again, these weird synchronicities, but it's because how you were talking about putting your art out there. I know you're a sculptor and you do all these molds and stuff like that, and it's like something about putting out your art and people interacting with it that does something that in my opinion, it charges it, and
absolutely charges it.
I came out recently, and I stated, because I think it's safe to say, I stated that I am a memetic magician, and some people were like, "Oh, this dude finally."
I heard that in the Joseph, was his name Athene? Is it with an M? Yeah. I heard you say that, and I was glad to hear you say that, because I'm like you. I don't practice ritual magic. I don't practice chaos magic, but I do make memes, and I know that when I share my memes, even if I only send it to you or to Jim Maiden, that it's doing something. And I would argue maybe those are even more powerful. The secret meme that only is distributed only to your mother might be more powerful than the one that you're willing to post on to Twitter or Facebook, etc. And so
the occulted memes, damn, that's a good title right there. The occulted meme.
Occulted memes, the secret memes, because there are secret memes. Some are just not quite appropriate. Like I made a post, I got a response on Twitter that made me decide I'm going to delete this. And then, I went after that. I decided, you know what? If I'm going to delete it off of Twitter, because I'm having second thoughts, I'm going to delete this everywhere I posted it. Just like, I'm not ashamed or scared. I'm not even going to say what it was, because we just talked about occulted memes. But what I did is I saw a movie actress, and there was a clip, a little article where someone had claimed that she had done a performance art piece. But then when I looked, it was actually from 2013. So then I had a vision in my head of a violent act, and so it wasn't just anyone that's thinking that. Just so you know,
it wasn't grape.
No, it wasn't. Oh, thank you. Yes, yeah, you have to. I forgot.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to censor that first one for the YouTube. I'll probably censor that too. But
well, I'm glad you said something, because I will try to be more thoughtful. I understand we are flying under the censorship radar here.
Oh, it'll be censored on YouTube, so
right,
it's all good.
But so I wrote a poem. I'm a poet. I write a lot of poetry, but most people don't know anything about it because I just don't publish it anymore. It's really just for me. It's me and God working things out with words and having fun. But so then I took that and I edited it together with a picture of the actress, and I stuck it up on Twitter. And some stranger who was like Archaics fan, of course, comes and she's like, "You're a creep. You're a weirdo. You're kind of a strange dude." And I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to reel this back. And so, but then after I did that, I thought, I'm going to delete it everywhere I posted it, even on my Discord. I even unsent it in a private message on WhatsApp. And I did the rest of those steps, not because I'm ashamed or afraid, but because I thought if I'm willing on Twitter to do it, then that, what I would call the backdraft, I can increase that by deleting it everywhere else. And now talking about it right now is charging it even more, because I didn't say the specific details of the poem and I didn't say the actress's name. So now there's a mystery created about this one post on Twitter that got me a reaction from, and I blocked the girl too, just to increase that. It's like reverse trolling. Like, oh no, you've made me insecure of my poem. I better delete it. Oh, I should block you. I don't even like you. I'm going to delete it everywhere.
Yeah.
But really, I'm just play acting. I don't care. I could have left it up there. It's not by any means the most outrageous I've posted.
So using the reaction as part of the ritual and I do that. I mean, because like sometimes the first 2 lines is to reel them in. I think that's why they're called reels, to reel you in. And then once you get them,
they're efficient.
And some people only focus on those first 2. They'll only answer those first 2 words because it's like, oh, it's not flat. Oh, all right. Yeah, it's like it's not flat, bro. Like the Earth isn't flat, man. It's like, okay, so you ignore the whole other thing everything else. Like that was the one part that stood out to you. So it's like, you know, I see what you're doing, bro, and I do it too. So I'm gonna probably keep doing that. And part of that mystery, to morph it back to what we were talking about with Hillman, it's like we don't really truly know what the original says, which is the other side of the coin, because we're trusting this guy who says he can read Greek, which I'm sure he can read Greek.
Yeah,
but
I believe him.
If we are being for real, and if we're being realistic, Sean, let's be technical here, okay? Because people always go and cite, you know, King James. We know King James is probably a homo. I mean, that is
I glanced at the evidence, and it's not really looking great.
It's not looking good for our boy. All right, it's not looking good for him. He might have had a little bit of sugar in his tank, which is fine, dude.
Floofy. That's the term we use, floofy. He's a little floofy. Which
is fine, dude. If you like dudes, hey, more power to you. If you like that sort of stuff, then whatever, bro. Like I'm not here to judge. Who am I to judge you? But some people will take that version for what it is. Like this is the word of God. This is it.
Right.
This is the only one. This is the true translation. But if we're being for real, okay, none of us, at least in my circle, and probably a majority of people listening to this right now, have ever truly read the Bible in its true form. Because that matters, dude. The context, a lot of words change depending on in the language that they're used. We know that. The wording changes, and the reason I know is because I'm translating all of my reels into Spanish. And guess what?
Right.
I'm having a time where I'm having to change the words up from the translation in English. When I translate it to Spanish, I go, wait a minute, this doesn't line up.
No, I used to do that to my Mexican friends. We'd be telling off-color jokes, and I'd say, now, translate something from Spanish that's a joke either against white people or it's inappropriate or whatever, like, you know, and they would try really hard, but it would never land. Like, then they'd have to try to explain why it's funny in Spanish because the languages don't cross over like that. And plus so you have different Spanish too. So are you just using your Puerto Rican Spanish, or are you trying to be considerate of all Spanish speaking people that might land on your reel? Because that's a challenge too. It's different. I know there's times you try to talk to somebody who's not speaking Puerto Rican Spanish, and there's just a little some wiggle room there, right?
Yeah. No, so it's gonna be the because Puerto Ricans have a sort of, I don't want to say ghetto, but a sort of, it's a different dialect than
Is it less formal?
Yeah, it's a lot less formal.
Okay.
There's a lot of slang and stuff in it, and sometimes they just say the word without actually pronunciating it. So, but it's going to be regular Spanish, you know, like proper Spanish, more universal, if you will. So if somebody in Spain was to come across it, they'd be like, okay, I know what the hell this guy's talking about. And if somebody in Puerto Rico was to hear it too, they'd know what I was talking about too. So it's going to be a more universal, friendly version instead of like the rough, rednecky type Puerto Rican Spanish, because the Puerto Rican Spanish is rough. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, people know what I'm talking about if they've ever heard a Puerto Rican talk next to like I like the way Colombians sound. I mean, my wife hates how Colombian. I like the way they sound, very like kind of like cursive-y versus like a Dominican Spanish, which is way different than Puerto Rican or Mexican or Spaniard. So But yeah, it's going to be more
People don't
universal.
realize that it's the same way in a lot of English dialects too. You know, if you go to Creole and down in the New Orleans versus the people like Mark up in the Northeast, you know, Mark to me sounds a little different than people that are just from the East Coast, New York, Brooklyn, and that stuff. You know, there's a big
people
difference.
from Miami, bro. People from Miami sound different too.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I mean, that doesn't surprise me though, because we all these little pockets of people, it's an egregore. And of course the egregore is going to affect the language. And once something catches on and sticks, then that's like a permanent thing, you know? So certain slang and certain styles, you know, but that's fascinating.
So
now I'm curious, do you get trolled in Spanish too? You get as many comments?
So those are just now rolling out. I'm in the process. I had to hire somebody to do the translation for me. So I am in the process of doing that now, and once they start going, we'll see, bro. I mean, who knows? It might take off, because that's a underserved community that wants conspiratorial.
I hope it does, man. That'd be awesome.
Me too, bro. I hope it takes off too. I always hope it takes off, because then it's like, because I sometimes take into I don't realize how much work it is to build something up, right? Because I've been at this particular show for so long, and trying to build a channel up from scratch that's not related to the occult, whatever it is, which is not my specialty. Something else, like for example, my gaming streams. Not a lot of people tune in, because the people who listen to podcasts, they don't care about the gaming. They don't want to see games, which is fine. That's cool too. If you don't want to check me out on twitch.tv/101 podcast every Tuesday night at 6 p.m., that's up to you. Okay. But the people, I'm building another community where it's the people who do want to show up will show up. And we get a lot of regulars that show up and interact every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/101 podcast, or on the other backup YouTube channel, One Media. You can go on there and check all that out. But yeah,
do you play any racing games?
Any racing? No, I haven't played. I've been playing a lot of first-person shooters. I've been playing Tomb Raider, which was super occult and esoteric, bro. Like,
I'll bet.
Yeah, bro, 100%. And I've been playing. What else have I played? I think I played some other stuff. I forget. Anyways, a lot of Destiny, which is like a first-person shooter that's about integrating the light and the darkness together. It's, bro, very esoteric and very occult. Yeah. And all this stuff has been in the background growing up, like at all these. And I'm going to be doing, speaking of that, bro, I'm going to be doing, after I put out that episode about the occult palm trees, and I did put out that episode that you and homie Romy and I did about the Philip K. Dick. I put it out on the Patreon in the meantime while I do the palm tree presentation. And I've been watching a lot of Gundam. I don't know if you've ever watched Gundam.
I never watched it, but I'm familiar with it, but I've never watched any. So
who doesn't love big ass robots, right? Big ass armor robots. It's like it's.
I loved Voltron when I was a kid, so I mean, I assume that's still a Gundam. So
yeah, so like that big, huge. So I've been watching a lot of that, and it just made me. There's a lot of esoteric stuff in that, bro. Where it's like they mix the technology with the magic, and then they're like, oh, they're breeding specific people to pilot these things. Huh. What does that sound like?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, oh, she sacrificed somebody and put them in the machine, like their spirit. What the like, what do you like that whole stuff? And that's been around for
not just a homunculus, but we're talking about homunculus industry.
Hold on. Mecha homunculus. Damn, dude.
Because I watched quite a few of the Full Metal Alchemist. My lady is more into the anime, not a whole bunch, but she's like, we watched One Piece, and she was watching it by herself, and I'm just like on my phone in the background. I don't care, I don't really watch very much shows or TV, so whatever she wants to put on, I don't care. But then about, I don't know, 100 or 200 episodes in, I told her, this has so much esoteric stuff. If you want to go back to the first one, I'll watch it with you, because it's insane how much is in there. It's like over the top.
I hear that one doesn't get good till like the 700 episode, I think it is, like One Piece. Either 300 or 700 episode, I think.
It's true that they go so deep into the story arcs and the character development for every character that I didn't even realize what we were getting into until we got to about 100, 110. I was like, okay, I'm starting to it's starting to click, you know?
Yeah.
And to me, it's just like you were talking about before, like, you know, it's just whether or not you have the vibe for it or not. A lot of people are going to look at that and just be like, nah, not me. I'm not ever watching that, you know? But that's why I asked about racing games, because if you were going to race, then I might tune in. Not that I wouldn't tune in just to check out what you're doing, but I've always, my friends used to just whoop my ass at all the first person shooters. And so I never got good at it, you know, like they knew that I wasn't good at it. I would always just like grab a sniper rifle and some bombs and, you know, some sticky bombs and go find a clock tower or something and just hope to kill some people and know that, you know, I'll get the first guy that gets blown up trying to come up the tower. But after that, I'm done, you know?
Yeah.
And
so
my little brother just headshot. And it's your little brother. So it's frustrating when your little brother just, again, headshot. On the screen it says killed by Zactron. You know, my brother's name is Zach and his nickname has been Zactron as long as we could remember. And
that's kind of robotic and mecha.
Become demoralized. Like my little brother is kicking my ass. I can't kill him once. And you know how the older first person shooters were. You finally get it on him. It's my turn. Nothing. Bam, and immediately headshot. Like, how could this be?
Yeah. One Piece has 1,100 episodes, bro. I never got into it. A lot of people have hit me up about it, and they're like, "Yo, you gotta watch this. It's crazy. They got this, and this." And I'm like, 1,100. How long is each episode? They have 5 OVAs, 13 TV specials, and 15 movies. How long are One Piece episodes?
I think they're about 22 minutes long.
Damn.
I'm guessing.
Yeah, 22 to 24. I don't know. I might have to bite the bullet because I'll put it on sometimes in the background while I'm working, right? Because I don't want to listen to like some esoteric or occult podcast. I just want to see this. So this whole time I'm like, damn, this particular. So the last one I watched was Mobile Suit Gundam: The Witch from Mercury, and I'd been wanting to see that for a while. So I finally finished it, and I was like, yo, this is wild. I want to do like a breakdown of that, and I started looking up stuff into it, and I'm like, this is related to a whole bunch of other, bro. It's related to Shakespeare. It's related to The Tempest. Like it was inspired by The Tempest, the play,
which means it's directly connected to John Dee. You know,
exactly. So I'm like, yo, I got to do a breakdown on this. So there you go. John Dee's the demiurge. So I'm gonna do a breakdown on that, and then I'm like, yo, you know what else is super occult? Where all these places that because I was trying to do a reel on the abyss, and I'm like, yo, the abyss, right? It's like this weird concept. It's like this place that exists somewhere between reality and the imagination. It's a place you can go to, and once you cross the abyss, you know, it's about letting go of the ego, and all these magicians were doing all this craziness, whatever. And I'm like, yo, what thing that we grew up with watching has that? It's like, oh, Yu-Gi-Oh! You know, Yu-Gi-Oh has that. And then if you look at the concept of Yu-Gi-Oh, it's about this little boy who gets possessed by this.
I didn't know that. Interesting. Okay.
By an Egyptian spirit, bro, in a relic that he wears.
Right.
And he's possessed by this entity that takes him over and changes him and everything, and it helps him win these duels. And he sends people to the shadow realm, bro. This other place, like and I'm like,
he sends him to the abyss.
So I'm going to be doing something on that soon. And it's just open up all these other avenues of like just weird stuff that you don't really think about that has been in our subconscious, at least in my I know you're older than me, Sean, but in my subconscious. And it's like, damn.
Oh, no, but I've got my own laundry list of stuff that I was watching or dealing with, you know, that's same thing. Like you go back and look at it and be like, what in the world? Like even just Warner Brothers cartoons. Like if you go look up conspiracies that are related to Bugs Bunny and Yosemite Sam and everything, there's secret messaging that the creators allegedly put in there that, you know, it's like Bugs Bunny's supposed to represent the unions. Like he's supposed to be like the Teamsters. Like there's all kinds of stuff like that hidden in there. And, you know, supposedly Tom and Jerry are actually friends. And Tom is always fronting to the owner that he's trying to kill Jerry, but that's why he never really gets hurt because really they're best buds and he doesn't want to chase him out of the house or eat him. And so like on and on. Right?
The hidden racist past of the Looney Tunes. Bro, what? And that's the thing, bro. That this has been in the zeitgeist for a long time. Speaking of another movie that really transforms your worldview, this has been around for forever, bro. I mean, this has been shaping people for a long time. But I don't know, dude. If you're easily influenced, should you even be on the internet?
I think an internet license, as much as I hate any kind of regulations, it might be a good idea
license
for people to have to. Well, but it would be
what,
more like
a communist,
like a meme license, communitarian. If you know, like that, not that you wouldn't be allowed to be on the internet without it, but that if you had it, it allowed people like me and you and your audience, or like the Spider's audience, they'd be like, okay, this person has the badge, they're certified, so they're cool. Whereas the other, it would be like identifying everyone else as a normie. If they don't have it, like, well, maybe you're closer to the people that are like, wow, you're schizo, talking about a hole in the ocean, cuckoo, you're crazy.
Oh, those people are bots, bro. That's why they're common.
Some of them are literally bots. I have a thread on my Twitter. If you go to my Twitter, that's all about, somebody made some snippet comment about propaganda and disinformation. So I went and made a whole thread showing, like, people don't understand bot farms are a real thing. There's poor Asian girls right now sitting somewhere in a room that all of the fans that are running are pointed at the bank, like a whole wall of smartphones, and they're sweating, but their job is to get them clicks, to make the advertising dollars seem like they're actually going where they claim they're going. And people there's another one I found. I'll send it to you, man. This guy talking about, he went and intentionally got into the catfishing market to see how it would work out. And he identified all of the backstory on the bots on Twitter and everything. It's nutty how accurate the AI is nowadays, that they can generate, like, people don't know. They can just generate like a whole conversation, and it seems completely real, and all the replies seem real. It's not like people think. Like, it's very obvious when there's a really low level bot in the comments section. That's really obvious. But a lot of the stuff that's happening is actual AI and bot networks, and it seems just as real as an actual human being, and there's just no way to know. People just don't know.
Because think about it. Because what AI is, the stuff that they're giving access to us, which is Chat GPT, they're large language models. Okay. Right. That's all they are. They're taking all the stuff that's how they train them. They take a whole bunch of YouTube transcripts from a whole bunch of YouTube videos. I'm sure they're reading the comments.
Yeah, your whole Facebook feed.
All that stuff. And it makes you wonder, when they find Facebook and these other companies billions of dollars for selling our information, they go, where's our information going to? What do you mean you don't know? Oh, it's going to advertisers. It's going to people who want to better target their audience. I think it's going to that stuff that I've been talking about, the organoids, the lab-grown brains, the neural platforms, where they're using their growing brains from stem cells. Where the hell are the stem cells coming from? Well, we don't know.
Babies.
Well, I mean, and what party doesn't care if they do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, they're both feeding each other. So it's like, where are those cells coming from? And on top of that, it's like, how do we know that those things aren't sentient? How do we know that that's not an AI or a bot? How do we know they don't have a whole entire farm of these little brains just on the internet trolling you? And that's why it's like,
they might. I mean, to me, that's what you said is true. What you said is true, that Facebook on the surface level is being honest when they say, well, we sold the information to some marketing people. And so that makes it sound like the guys from Mad Men, right? They drink a lot of scotch during the day. They write a lot of ad copy. Sometimes they use some images in their copy. But no. Like, we're thinking of more like the Bill Hicks marketers, like Satanists, straight Satanists. If you've ever seen that clip of Bill Hicks talking about, he tells all the marketing executives to do themselves in.
Oh, dude, check this out. So, right, the first question, Did Meta companies sell data of users to governments? Right. It's like, no, we don't sell your information. Instead, based on the information we have, advertisers and other companies pay us to show you personalized ads on the Facebook family of apps and technologies. Right. Right. Listen, we don't sell them your information. We show it to them for a fee. Okay. And it's like right here. Did the Meta company sell data of users to governments? No, they sold it to Cambridge Analytica, a right-wing group created by Steve Bannon, who used to help the Trump campaign in 2016. So you look up their friggin' logo.
It's the brain.
It's a brain, bro.
It's a model of a brain. I never noticed that. Well, I mean, that's what I was going to say. These satanic marketers that Bill Hicks is complaining about, like, how do they really think? They think, well, if we really want to sell something to Juan, what we need to do is build a model of Juan's brain. And if we can get it to work for 2 or 3 years, then we'll know how Juan's brain works. And then it'll be easy to sell Juan stuff because we'll have a copy of his brain. And people think that sounds insane, but that's
sounds
literally
crazy.
what they're doing. It's exactly what they're doing.
It's not, but they're building a digital brain of yours somewhere, right? And they're taking, who knows if they're training it, they're sending it out. Right, these what I call demonic algorithmic egregores, where they just throw them out into the ether, say, "Hey, cause havoc." Right, there's something about causing chaos, because if you see that one person commented schizo post, and the 30 people below that commented the same thing, why would you comment the same thing? You know what I'm saying? Like, we get it. Like, that's what. But it's like you're targeted. And then every now and again you'll get like a weird, a normal post of like, hey, what my favorite one was. It's funny that all these kinds of posts are always filled with Agent Smith schizogram comments on it. I'm like, this dude's on it. This is a real person that recognizes that it's a matrix, and these are people sent in by the Matrix, right? Like how Tate says, the Matrix is trying to take you down, the simulation, whatever the hell it's trying to take you. It's like, no, you're just a piece of shit. All right. Like, there's nobody trying to take you down. But then that's the thing. When can you start taking responsibility for your own self? And it's like, you're not a targeted individual. You're just a piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause I know people who will legitimately blame the Illuminati for X addiction that they have.
Well, to me, that's the perfect thing. This brings it all back around. Okay, so what we're talking about with all of this stuff, so the reason they would do it, create these huge bot networks, not just to sell advertising, that's really helpful, but we're capturing the influence of consciousness, so then you can lead and guide consciousness. So if you go, say, you're talking about a particular type of medicine that was popular around 2020 or something like that, and you go on Reddit where that's where someplace you might try to find information, and they've got the bot network set up so that it poo-poos, thumbs down, and calls you crazy and schizo and stupid and weird, then that gives you that overwhelming influence in your life of being on that side and not on the hated side. You don't want to be on the side that's mocked, made fun of, ridiculed, and all those kinds of things. And so it captures and influences consciousness on a mass scale. And so we see it all the time in the conspiracy realm, like where we're at in the I don't like calling it a community, because to me it's not a community. A community is a very intentional thing. Weaving spiders' webs is a community because we've all decided we enjoy streaming every night on Saturday, and then we have a little spots where the people that are fans of the show come. You have a community affiliated with your website and your podcasts, but the whole conspiracy truther culture is not a community. But people always get hyper paranoid. We get a glitch right now, and one of us starts roboting consistently, and it coincidentally is when you're going to say the most important piece of information. People are like, "Oh, that's our FBI agents are messing with us again. They're interfering with our broadcast." It's like, no, I don't think so. But people get that self-centered paranoia going on.
I recently did an episode on the voice of God technology, Sean.
Mm-hmm.
And that's some. So what if when you're in this conversation, right, we're talking, because it's happened to me, dude. The other night I I said something about being blasphemous towards the power of God, and lightning came down and shut my electricity down during an episode. It was with Slick. It was episode 211. We were talking about being blasphemous and heretical towards God, and boom, lightning, and it shut my whole thing down. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean,
what if you're attracting it with the dome?
Yeah,
you know,
it's not that it never happens, and I wouldn't even go so far as to say that there's zero agents interfering. I think the guys that are working for intelligence apparatus are probably like the most overworked, bored, frustrated guys out there. So if they're just like lots of people do at any job, you can be at your job and not doing. You could be working in customer service and you're not inputting your data. You're not answering the phone. You're not calling people back. You're looking at Facebook. You're shopping on Facebook Marketplace. So I assume all the guys that are low and mid-level intelligence apparatus are doing the same thing. So is it possible that they want to tune in to the one-on-one podcast and hit the button right at the moment? I don't think that's impossible, but I also don't think that it's a one-to-one correlation like people think, like, well, we're highly important in trying to get this information out. We have 150
that
people
Disney
tuning in
movie
live
was made
once a week
after me.
That's right. It just shows that we all have main character syndrome, whether we like it or not. To me, this is the actual main spiritual work to do in the world, is to remember that you have a default setting of not just self-centeredness, but also insecurity. We all do. We're all stuck on, you don't leave the house without looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to have like ashes on your face because you cleaned out your fireplace, and then you're wondering why the cute cashier who's a college student is looking at you funny, and then you finally go look in the mirror.
Yeah, she wants me, dude. She's so
black ashes all over one side.
She wants me.
One time, bro, back when I used to chief hella marijuanas, I had this pink hat that had little rock and roll symbols all over it. It came on the bottom of one of my daughter's Easter baskets, and I turned the brim up, and I would wear it around the house when I was hella stoned doing housework, right? And so I had to run up to the store, and so I go in the store, and I'm already somewhat paranoid. I'm stoned,
Yeah.
And so then everyone's staring at me. And I'm like, what the hell? And so now I'm offended. Like, why are people looking at me? And I walk by the freezer aisle, and here's me, kicking it. I got my wife beater on with a shirt like this, and the damn pink little kid's hat with the brim turned up. It's like, and I'm stoned, probably visibly stoned.
You're creepy.
So, well, yeah, exactly.
You're a little creepy, you know that?
You're a little creepy. I think that's why, that's why I had to pull that back. That girl's right. I am kind of creepy. That's weird to see an old performance piece by an actress and get inspired to make a poem and then post it on Twitter. That's a strange thing to do.
And dude, that when that piece came out with that actress, Once Upon a Time, they didn't know that was going to happen. That it would inspire you,
right?
And you would take it and project it out into this hyperspace or this other hyperspace,
right?
And maybe that's what extracted that reaction from that young lady, because that was never meant to happen. You get what I'm saying? Like, we're doing stuff that are stepping outside the bounds of whatever program if it is. Do you think it's actually a simulation? What do you think, bro? Do you think that you believe in any of that? Because that's pretty Gnostic,
to me, it's like it would have to be simulations all the way down, right? So somewhere there's still an unmoved mover. Somewhere there's still the infinite, eternal oneness of the love of God that allowed everything to spring forth. So to me, it doesn't really like a simulation of what, I understand, like that's the question I always throw back at people. And I'm not saying that I'm discounting the idea, because especially things like retcon and the Mandela effect stuff is very disturbing to your foundational reality. Or people get, to me, this is why you get a lot of the knee-jerk schizo and accusatory comments, especially on the more occulted, esoteric topics. It's because it rattles people's cage. Right now, if we're sitting here and you get the knock on the front door, you triggered immediately. What's going on? Why? Especially if they knock like I just did, right? Like, are the cops at my house? And you immediately go into, That's right. Here they come. So
open up those
if that
cheeks.
happens in real life, your brain automatically goes to a script of defending and double checking yourself. Am I breaking the law? Am I involved in anything unseemly or bad? Why would they be here? Maybe it's a mistake. What's going on, right? Well, I think the videos that the categories that me and you make content in are similar thing. You know, you start talking about a big blue hole in the ocean and somebody's going to dive their submarine down in there, and then start mentioning that it's also potentially demonically possessed. It's access to the actual abyss, to the physical abyss that overlaps with the metaphysical abyss, where the demons are down there waiting to see what you're going to find in your submersible. That to me, on a spiritual level, a lot of the people that aren't fake bots, but they're maybe NPC style, it rattles their cage the same as that knock on the door. And they don't want to hear about, hey, we can't find the curvature. We've been looking, since 2015. There's no curvature. They don't want to hear it.
Nikon discontinued their P1000 blah, blah, blah camera because it was zooming into the moon too close. That's supposed to be 400-something thousand miles away and whatever.
Yeah, so, and that coincidentally, they pulled back the P1000 at the same time that they also landed a contract to help NASA with some of their stuff, So very strange, right? So to me, that rattles people's cages, and our natural reaction always is to check ourselves and be sure of where we're at. You don't get obviously if you're moving lots of weight and dealing lots of drugs and you get the knock on the door, you're just expecting it. Yeah. That's what you thought was going to happen, But if you're not, then you're like, hey, I'm double checking myself. Everything's all good. I'm not doing anything wrong. This must be some kind of a mistake. And I'd say on a spiritual, metaphysical level, the videos and content in the esoteric conspiracy realm do the same thing to people. And we're seeing it more now than ever. People wake up and they're like, like somebody like Tucker Carlson, even just 3 years ago, no way, man, he's not touching none of this stuff. Yeah. Now he's pretty much waded in right up to his knees, And
sorry about the Nephilim, wasn't he?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I don't watch him. I never liked the guy, but I still... or a guy like Alex Jones has been around for so long now that even though people are still triggered by him and hate him and think he's an idiot and have all these accusatory things to say, they're used to it. Alex isn't shocking anymore. You already know where he's at. But now he's stayed long enough and remained big enough that it acclimatizes you to it,
Tell
if pugs
to shut up.
Yeah, I'll close that door on him. It's because I banged. I shouldn't have done that. Too much. I got too excited and banged up.
Now they're excited. We know that the pug is the dog breed of choice for magicians. So
the pugs are like, we told you this was going to happen. So they heard the knock, and now they're like, we've been hyper vigilant, looking out the windows all day, and
the day has come. The day has come.
That's right. They're here. They're here.
Oh man. Because they're pretty anxious, right? Pugs are pretty like.
Oh, bro. Well, when they're not asleep for 12 or 16 hours, yeah, they get up and they're like, food. Oh, my dog does the funniest thing, man. We couldn't figure it out for weeks. Like, what is wrong with this dog? He'd go out in the backyard and he'd stand in the corner and look straight up and bark. And we're like, what the hell? And then he'd run through the house and go to the front window and look up and bark. And then finally I realized, like, oh, we're close to the airport. The airport flight path goes right across my yard. And he thinks he's chasing the Thunderbirds away, man. He's like, look at these huge, terrifying, loud birds. They're flying over my property. I got to tell him that's not okay with me. Don't be flying over my property. Yeah. So he goes and barks until they're gone. And then he comes over to me. He's like, how about a treat, man? I got rid of another big bird.
I did a good job. He just wants to be a good boy.
Praise me.
That's us, bro. We want to be good boys. We want more likes, more subs. So sign up for the Patreon, patreon.com/the One Podcast. Anyway, so
it's worth it. It's worth it.
Thanks, bro. You've been a long time supporter as well of the show, which I really appreciate that. And yeah, dude, I mean, I think that what you're saying, it is about shaking people out of their comfort zone, out of their reality tunnels. And that's what the whole thing that has interested me. And Robert Anton Wilson talked about this. And I've talked about this in correlation with the abyss, these mystical places, these other realms, liminal spaces, whatever it is.
Yeah, you like the Mauve Zone. I noticed that you is that Kenneth Anger? Is that right?
Kenneth Grant.
Grant, yes.
Yeah, Kenneth Anger was the guy with Lucifer tatted on his chest that worked with
Mm-hmm.
Marjorie Cameron and all those people. But
Right.
I've always loved that idea of the interdimensionalism, the other side, what is time, like all these things. And one of the things that Robert Anton Wilson talks about, because I have been reading through the Illuminatus trilogy recently as well, and I've sent you. Did you finish the first Hyperion book already?
Yep.
Damn, bro, just
Well,
turning and burning.
If I got stuff to, well, I'm just listening to them, you know. So if I got stuff to do, I'll just keep it blasting if I'm enjoying it. And I can't lie, some of the sex scenes are a little bit beyond what I would prefer, but I also understand, you know, it's published 1989. You know, I looked the author up, you can tell, and that's his early work. So maybe he developed as he gets farther. You know, I know he's a horror author too, but the first, you know, I had it on, not on my headphones, but on the speakers in my shop, and I'm thinking, man, if somebody comes to deliver me a package right now, they're going to think I'm a little bit Lulu in here, like having sex on the battlefield. That's weird.
With a robot? Yeah. It's like, spoiler alert. Yeah, that turns into like, a killer machine after the fact.
Yeah, like, why are we having sex in the middle of the battlefield?
Oh, it was a simulation. It was a simulation.
At least it was a simulation. So,
but dude, I'm almost done with Dune, and it's just not
the first book.
Yeah, it's not doing it for me, bro. It's just
no. It's like One Piece, you know. Like some people claim that they didn't really have it all click and enjoy the story till they get to the third book, and that's hard.
Third book, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
I had to put it down because it's just like it's just, I get it. You snort the cinnamon stuff and you're able to see the future or whatever. It alters you out of, you know, whatever. Who cares?
Right. It slows down your aging.
Whatever.
Everything, right? It turns your eyes blue, pretty shaded blue.
He's probably a homunculus from what I'm like picking up on. He was specifically bred for that, and then like his mom, like, did she impregnate herself or what the hell is going on?
No, she just broke the rules. Like she's supposed to, apparently the Bene Gesserits can control the gender of the sex of their children. When they're going to conceive, and she broke the rules with Paul Muad'Dib, Kwisatz Haderach.
I love the Paul Muad'Dib, like this whole other
the Kwisatz Haderach. I'm trying to remember his last name, Atreides. So there we go. Yeah, Paul Muad'Dib, Kwisatz Haderach, Atreides. That's almost as bad as Theophrastus Bombastus. But yeah, she broke the rules because it's supposed to only be a female. You know, the Kwisatz Haderach is supposed to be a female, apparently, or they know that it's going to be a male and they're supposed to be avoiding it. And so she broke the rules, you know, and brought, you know, brought the man.
Hyperion is better than Dune, from what I'm getting at. All right. Until I get to the worm stuff, it's not going to do it for me. I'm going to still finish it. But yeah, Hyperion is where it's at. I'm glad you got through the first book because it's like stories within stories. And when and some of the concepts, like the Shriek being like the guy's muse of like helping him, like when he starts writing about it, starts killing it. I was like, whoa, like that. This is what we've been talking about, bro, with like William Burroughs and like all these other guys. And
just so you know, I think that author, what's his name? I can't remember.
Dan Simmons.
Dan Simmons. I think Dan Simmons is the poet. I think that's it. I think he relates to all of his characters, but I think he's actually the poet. Martin Salinas, is that his name?
Yeah. Let me double check the poet.
It might not be Salinas.
It was like,
I think his last
wasn't it Yeats, poet in Hyperion? What's his?
No, Yeats is the different guy.
John Keats. So Hyperion Fragmentary Poet Epic by John Keats that exists in 2 versions. Published. Let's see here. Martin Salinas. Yeah. Martin Salinas, the poet and author. And I love how he's like, I woke up like a multi-billionaire or whatever it was. And then it's like, I'm writing about old Earth and it just happened to hit right when it was supposed to, and all this craziness. And it's like, it's a freaking story within story. I love that because the way he goes about it. My favorite one was the poet too, by the way. Like my favorite.
Yeah, he's the. That's why I think he is the author projected into his own story. Now that's just my speculation, but I think that's who Simmons actually relates to the most.
Yeah, because he wrote the cantos, so it would make sense that he's the
And,
one that's modeled after.
And I mean, I'm already probably 2-3 hours into the second book. So, and he did such a good job on the cliffhanger. I actually went and bought extra credits, which I never do because I got so many books I've never even listened to. I got so much on my Audible. I was like, screw it. I just got paid. And then you know how it is. Audible's they are those satanic marketers that we were talking about. You go on Audible and it's like, well, it's $17 just to buy it. That's expensive. So I'll buy one extra credit. That's $14. But you can't buy two. Okay, but for three,
yeah, for
it's
$5,
down to like,
whatever,
like $12 and a quarter for three. But now I'm dropping almost $50. It's like
and then you end up just buying the book anyways for the price that they ask. It's like, oh, it's only $3, you know, so I'm gonna go ahead and buy it.
I mean, a lot of the time I'll do that too. Yeah, if the price is lower than the value of a credit, they've got you stuck on this concept of the value of their Audible credit. So then you've got that pinned in your mind as being right around 13 or 15 bucks. That's what it's worth.
Yep.
So then if the book is $8, of course you're not going to spend your credit.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not spending my silver dimes at the grocery store. I put those in my piggy bank.
So this concept of liminal spaces, other realities, back to Robert Anton Wilson on that tangent that we went on. But I did want to talk to you about that and get your thoughts on the shriek and the tombs that are going backwards through time, plus that little baby. I always wondered why, you know, when you start off at the beginning, why there's a baby. Who the brought a baby on board to, you know, this weird like, Yggdrasil freaking ship? Well, what's with the baby? And then
any dad immediately like, why did you bring the baby? Like, you know,
and then you figure out
I wouldn't
why.
even take the baby to the amusement park and stand while, you know, like, don't take the baby, get a sitter or stay home.
Yeah.
There's no in between. Like, it trips me out when people have their little tiny babies at events or even at the park. Like, you know, like it's 3 months old. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why you have this tiny baby out of the house? Go and sit in your backyard and then put it back inside the house.
Yeah. Yeah. So I love it. I think it's better than Dune. Whatever, fight me. Once I'm done. So far until we get to the worm stuff where they want to become worms.
I would say they don't really compare because, okay, so the criticism of Dunes that I've heard are all very legitimate and accurate. Now, I still love the book series anyway, but it's very dry, dialogue heavy, political, and intellectual. So the action in Hyperion is way better because you have to wait for it. To me, Dune is very similar to the Godfather movies. Like, people love the Godfather movies, but if you go try and sit and watch them, you're falling asleep. Like, you can't watch it after work. You're going to be falling asleep. It's all dark and quiet and slow. You know, Scorsese's got the camera moving like you take it forever, and it's all dialogue. You're trying to listen. They got a heavy Italian accent.
Wasn't that Coppola too? That was directed by one of the Coppolas.
I thought it was Scorsese. Martin Scorsese.
The Godfather.
I could be wrong.
So The Godfather was, let's see here. Yeah, Francis Ford Coppola.
I was wrong. Please forgive me, Francis.
Yeah, you got to ask forgiveness from St. Cage, bro.
I will. I'll get down on one knee later. I don't want to do it on video.
All
That's
right.
embarrassing.
Fair enough. But yeah, that was.
I've got the Church of Cage sticker on my water bottle, so I can put that on the counter, and I'll get down on one knee.
Genuflect to the sticker there. So
what does he say? It's a symbol of my originality and my belief in personal freedom.
Yeah. So whatever, who cares? Hyperion is better than Dune, and it's great. So
you should make a short about that. You blow up.
But nobody. Everyone knows Dune. Nobody knows about Hyperion. They've never made a movie about Hyperion, bro.
Not yet. They finally are going to do it. I looked that up real quick. But to me, that's the reason why your short would work. Now we're inside baseball for the audience here. Now we're talking about inside baseball, like how to create content. And of course, me, who doesn't even create content anymore, except for to go sit on the spider stream, is going to tell Juan the best in the business about it right now. So, but because people don't know about Dan Simmons and his series of books, for you to compare Dune to anything, even if you said you thought Star Wars is better than Dune, right now with all the marketing around Dune, all the Dune fanatics are going to be like, you're crazy, you're stupid, rah, rah. But you bring something Dark Horse, something nobody's even ever heard of, and say this is better, then you're going to have them. They're going to be fangs out. Like, get him.
All right, when I finish them, I don't want to be a hypocrite. When I finish them, I'll do that. I promise
Now
you.
you could do a whole series that way. I would do that and take the Dune side, and we could argue every week.
All right, yeah, let's do it. So, Robert Anton Wilson, liminal spaces, the abyss, these other realities, these other realms, and Robert Anton Wilson's Perilous Chapel, right? Where this idea of, let me make sure I'm saying it right. It's the Chapel Perilous.
Yeah, Chapel Perilous. Yeah, I know
Where
what you meant.
it's about this other. Let me write this down. Chapel Perilous, which I feel like a lot of people in reality are in this place. Now, the way that Robert Anton Wilson puts it in his Cosmic Trigger, according to Wilson, being in this state leads to all right. So, Chapel Perilous is a term also referring to a psychological state in which an individual is uncertain whether some course of events was affected by a supernatural force or was a product of their own imagination. It was used by writer and philosopher Robert Anton Wilson in his 1977 book Cosmic Trigger. According to Wilson, being in this state leads the subject to become either paranoid or an agnostic. In his opinion, there is no third way. Which wouldn't they both be the same thing, affected by a supernatural force or was a product of their own imagination? Isn't that kind of like the same thing? Supernatural force and
this is the classic argument in how magic and metaphysics really work, right? Like the argument is, well, the demons aren't real, but we're breathing life into the concept by using our own intellectual capacity. Whereas the other side is like, no, they're real. They're right there on the other side of that invisible wall. And if you with them, it's your ass, like, so literally for some folks. Yeah. So to me, that's back to that. That's the classic argument or decision that you end up in, even if you're just armchair academic style like we are for the most part, not ritually practicing and trying to get deeply involved in magic. You have to decide, do I think there's like a realm full of invisible fourth dimensional angels, demons, other stuff, or do I think this is all a product of the mind, and all of those things appear to be true, but really it's just human consciousness generating or creating it? Now, I'm in the former category. I think the world is swarming with life that is not seen on the everyday in the world that we live in. To me, it's very obvious that it's not just human consciousness manifesting the appearance of, I think something is going on. I think God created everything, and there's all this wiggle room between humanity and the earth plane, whatever it is. There's all this room for other things to happen that they, some of them are kicked out. They're not allowed to exist here. Some of them are still God's creations and soldiers like the angels, and they are here, but they don't have permission to manifest all the time. But they're knocking on the door all the time. It's pretty obvious sometimes. Like to me, that's what synchronicities are. You're already thinking about Revelation, and then all of a sudden it goes, blammo, here's the identical verse. Not just, hey, also the book of Revelation. Here's the exact same thing that you already had in your mind. To me, that's the little tip of the hat from that invisible realm,
Because sometimes, dude, I'll be like, I get in that state of mind where it's like, man, what a load of all this stuff is. Like listening to anyone argue about religion or something, I go, man, what if this is all dude? What if it's all fake and gay and it's nothing? There's nothing when you die. There's nothing on the other side. I get into, what is that, black pilled? When like everything is fake, none of this matters. Like sometimes I'll get in that state of mind sometimes where I'm like, man, all this stuff doesn't. And here's the thing about like Hillman's research, where a lot of people will be like, oh, Jesus never existed. Well, according to them, he did. So he's confirming for a majority of people something that they doubted to begin with, whether Jesus Christ was a real person or not. Now, where it gets heretical and blasphemous is the other stuff that he's saying about him, which is pretty crazy. But
It's
here's
as far as I've ever seen anybody go, and I've gone pretty far out myself. But yeah, to start accusing Jesus of being inappropriate with children, not just inappropriate, but using ritual magic and
yes.
sorcery that involves snake's venom and all this kind of stuff is pretty far out, bro.
Wow, but here's the thing: we can't confirm nor deny his claims. You know what I'm saying?
To
Like,
me, that would be the fascinating thing to do, is to intentionally go find some definitely well-known and successful scholar that's of the same category and the same caliber.
I don't think there is
and
anyone,
say,
dude. To be honest,
say we got to vet this guy's work. Oh yeah, you could get the Orthodox scholars or the Catholic scholars to come vet his work and say, hey, this is what he's saying this old Greek says. What do you say? And
well,
then,
the old Greek says what it says, bro. I mean, the old. But here's the thing: when do we start the? Because that same dude had somebody else on to rebuttal Hillman's stuff, and the guy ended up being a Mormon. And it's like,
right.
Wait a minute. I was like, wait.
Because that's the one guy that I was talking about who, like, he gets popular doing his gotcha reels about the Bible and what it means. He's the Latter-day Saints guy. And so that's most people's criticism of him, is that he's saying, I'm coming from this academic position. I really know my stuff. But then, wah, Mormon.
You fell for the Mormon cult. Make it make sense. Like, how are you know what I'm saying? Like, make it make sense. So...
And I got a lesser known interview with Hillman where he's talking about the divine sacred feminine and how he admits that he almost became a CIA agent, but then didn't. So you can throw that in there too. But that one's I thought I lost that, but then I found that, God bless Internet Archive, I was able to go find and download the actual MP3. So
I reached out to him and I asked him. I didn't invite him on the show or anything like that. I asked him if he had ever come across, because he reads a lot of Galen and a lot of these ancient medical texts, and I asked him if he's ever come across anything about the artificial generation of either humans or entities or something in his works. He hasn't gotten back to me, but if he ever does get back to me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to book him for some Latin class.
Right.
On all the artificial generation stuff. So we're gonna go to source material about creating homunculus with him and get lessons at the same time. If he'd be down for that. Again, if he's not, and then I'll do something with that. But that's my plan, because I don't want to talk about like the whole, his stuff's been around for a while, but I don't want to have the same conversation.
He's blowing up right now, because I mean, I was kind of happy for him when I saw him hitting all the podcast circuit and everything, because a lot of the time I talk myself out of creating and publishing things because I see how futile it is for the vast majority of people doing it. You spend years writing a book and 12 of your friends buy it and 30 people that follow you on the internet buy it, and then nothing, and then somebody's excited 50 years later when it starts to blow up and they're almost dead. And they're like, I can't believe people are finally reading my book. That's crazy, and so part of me has that same thing you were talking about, the black pilled attitude of like, why am I even telling people that I made stupid shower curtains for sale? Why am I going to go back and get into audio video production? Why am I going to record music or write books or any of that stuff? Because it seems so futile, seems like, where's the reward? I don't want to be one of these artists that got famous after he was dead. And everyone is so happy about all the how great his work was, and you never got to find out about it. One part of me says that, and the other part of me says, screw it, publish, do it, do stuff, just do stuff and don't care, get it out there just because you have a creative drive and it's worth it to share.
Yeah. So I've thought about that before, right? And this is the advice I always give to everyone. I'm like, yo, just put it out there. Who cares? But it's a grind, dude. How you said that you can put so much time and energy into this, and you forget that there's not a lot of people who are into this sort of stuff. Like it's very slim, the amount of people that are truly actually even open-minded enough to be into all the craziness that we, dive into. So I'm with you on that, dude. And honestly, I didn't think I was going to make it this far. And this whole timeline that I'd been following, I thought I'd give up a long time ago, and I just kind of kept going, and here we are today. And I'm just like, you know what? Just embrace it. It's like I'm in this weird area where it's like, should I continue or should I just quit, or should I just? It's like I'm in that liminal space. So.
Right, and that makes sense why you're also landing on that as part of your content, you know, looking at Robert Anton Wilson and talking to Matheny, you know, about, because I want to check out his trilogy too. You guys had a great conversation. If people, is that available just for general consumption, or is that only on the Patreon over there?
That particular interview that you're listening to will be eventually public. I think that comes out this week, but his trilogy, you can check it out on the internet. You could pick a copy up or something on the internet.
I wonder if he's got him in audio. Because, yeah, I found that fascinating. I mean, to me, it's the same story, too, with all these magician and synchronicity types, is that you end up with the potential to start manifesting things. Things start happening. You know, you tinker with it, and you get results. You know, I mean, I've made sigils before back in the day, and I had results that allowed me to decide I'm done with that. I'm not interested to do that anymore. You know, I didn't get far deep into it and like start studying Austin Osman Spare for a year or anything. I just tried. You know, they says, you know, if you go follow Gordon White from Rune Soup, he says, oh, you do these steps. You know, there's a little web page. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try the steps. You know, and I got some results that were pretty shocking to me, honestly. And so I just like, well, maybe that's not for me. Maybe I don't need to be involved in that. And then like that interview you just did, and I've heard it not just from that man, but it's a pretty redundant thing. Serious magicians and occultists will tell you, you have to go do the deep dive work on yourself first. It might take you 3 or 5 years to go work out your baggage, your emotional neediness, your weirdness, your problems, whatever does trigger you. You have to work all that out so that you have a more Zen center before you even start to move into the realm of practicing, because all of that stuff is in your way, and it's going to come, instead of coming up as a minor detail or a flaw off to the side, it comes up as the fiery, flaming Shrike guardian of the threshold threatening to kill you, you know, and then you lose your mind and go to the mental ward, and then your mom never respects you again because she told you not to do that, because she just believes in Jesus and reads her Bible or whatever. That happens to a lot of people. You know, a lot of people alienate or damage themselves by tinkering and messing around because it's so available nowadays. And it used to be, it wasn't available. You'd have had to scratch a lot harder at the dirt to find any of this stuff. You go, I could only look, imagine 1985, you go to the library and say, hey, I was hoping to get some Eliphas Levi. They're like, hey, get out of my library. Right? Yeah. You got to go to the secret bookstore where the little old man's willing to break the taboo and share information with you. Like, well, in the very back corner on the very bottom shelf, if you move the little curtain over,
it's going to cost you though.
That's right. Exactly.
We accept payment in flesh though. So
that's right. But most people don't realize what that pound of flesh means.
Show me your belly button now. And it's like,
well, you know, a pound of flesh is one specific pound. It's not just any old. He doesn't want the part of the back of the fat part of your arm.
No, he doesn't. Yeah. No. So you make a lot of sense, bro. And I think that's the thing, because right now, for example, I think that's what's kept me going, where it's like adding fuel to the fire and these things keep happening, where it's like, all right, well, maybe I shouldn't stop or whatever. I mean, I'm having fun to a certain extent. It just sucks when you put in a bunch of hours of research into something just to get called by somebody on the internet, you know, some random bot or something.
So,
it's like, yeah. Well, I guess I'm over, you know, like whatever. So I forgot what I was going to say, but.
Well, to me, that's proof of success. When you have people consistently attacking and poking fun at your position, you know, and now, of course, it's different if, you know, if Joe Rogan chimes in and says, I think you're stupid, Juan, then that would land in a very different way. I mean, I personally would take it as a compliment.
I don't think that at this point, I don't think I'd care what Rogan would have to say. I think Rogan is not open-minded enough to have the conversations that we're having.
Well, if he is, he keeps it a secret because they give him so much money. So,
because even when one of my favorite guests on his show is Duncan Trussell, and Duncan is up, you know, in there with the Discordian, Robert Anton Wilson, Levi, Crowley,
right?
And his conversations, whenever he brings something up on Rogan, they don't really go where you'd like for them to go. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think he's even open-minded enough to have and
I
talk
just
about
use
any of
it
this
as
stuff.
an example of someone who's actually doing the same type of work that you're doing and has the most phenomenal success that we see. So then if Rogan did have some criticism, at least it would be somewhat well-founded because he's in the same category.
Yeah.
Not like the mailman or the Amazon delivery guy. You know, he can barely has time to watch your short because he's trying to pee without getting caught, you know, in his little urine bottle in his truck. But he has time to write LOL F word or exactly LOL schizo, you know, before he has to go drive another 14 hours and bring me my stuff that I ordered yesterday or whatever.
Yeah, bro. I'm gonna make a meme. Here, let's make a meme online. Let's practice some. Here, everyone who's gonna be watching is gonna be charging this meme here. So here we go.
I never thought of corporate meme making, and I mean just people working together.
All right, here.
You
So
know?
the first one that come into mind is this one here, and don't even know the last living. Hold on. Am I doing this right? So I'm gonna, because a lot of times I'll look around the room and go, you know, none of these people know what a homunculus is.
Yeah.
Like none of these people know. So I'm thinking, how does it go? So what is it? Guy in the corner of party meme. Because it's got a specific word. You got to follow the template. This is how ceremonial magic works. So.
Oh, this is smart. I mean, to me, you should be charging for this because now people are getting meme lessons.
That's
you know,
fine.
I encourage the young people. I tell them, like, you need to stop just looking and sharing memes. That's fine to do that. But the next step is you got to make some memes.
Right.
And the fastest way I've been doing it is I've got a document open. It's called Fast Easy Memes. And you just you use your clipping tool on your notebook, and you clip the picture that inspires the meme. What happens is you see a picture and extra text comes into your head. That's the main thing that happens, right? Usually. Like you see a picture and you imagine how it could be a meme. And so if you got the Fast, Easy meme document open with all those memes, you just paste the picture in there and then you just write at the bottom of it. And that's it. Now you just clip it one more time and you've got the meme. Whereas what you're doing is a little bit more technical and labor intensive to have to use someone else's template generator. I'm not saying it's hard. But this
but you're an adept in memetic magic, you know, so now, that would make sense that you have your thing put down, right?
Is there a way for you to put space between the second line of text and the third one so that will it let you do a hard return?
So here they don't even know, and then I'll put this here. I could put, what are you trying to say to?
Yeah, I would just put it a little bit lower down like that.
Whoa.
Of course, I see. Now they're really learning about meme making. You change it. It's just like, I don't know. I feel like these younger people are blessed because they never had to deal with the old Word documents. Now the Word document is still a pain in the ass. It's a real struggle.
So I could put here,
that's the first thing I thought. They don't even know what a homunculus is. But I think your other line is better. They don't even know that I'm the last living homunculologist. I think that's better.
Hold on. So, let me match the. I don't know if it'll let me do another. No, it doesn't space it. But this is 50 font, and let's do 50 font on this too.
I love it. We jumped right into inside baseball on meme production.
Here we go.
Getting a free clinic right now.
This is, and everyone watching on YouTube right now is charging this meme. So who knows? I'm gonna put it in the bank, and then once this episode comes out, I'll release it to see what happens.
You might have to change that, guys. When you send that to me, I'll go back to one of your old videos that says make Esoteric great again. Is that what your hat says?
Yeah, make alchemy great again.
Right. So we need to slap that hat instead of the birthday party hat on this guy.
Damn, so now you're inserting yourself into that's next level. Because now you become the meme. So what does that do magically?
I don't know. It definitely makes it so random people talk at the grocery store sometimes, you know.
So Here, I think I've already made another. Let me see if I've made the meme that I'm thinking about right now. I think I have, but I'm thinking of the William Dafoe. And by the way, I saw the movie he did with this movie here. I started watching it. I couldn't finish it. It's nasty. It's dirty.
Poor Things.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's a horror movie. I don't watch horror movies.
No, it's not horror. It's all right. So, spoiler alert. I talked about this on episode 214, I think, with Donut, that I wanted to see this movie, and apparently this is the body of the mother with the brain of the baby she had in her stomach when she jumped off a bridge. And this scientist, Frankenstein, which is William Dafoe.
Of course.
William Dafoe in the movie is him here, really, Frankenstein looking guy. He puts the brain of the baby in the mother's body. Now, she figures out stuff, how to pleasure herself, and it goes downhill from there. So again, use your imagination as to what that could possibly mean. And now again, I stopped it at a certain point where I was like, there's really, but very homunc-esque. And
now you just reminded me one time I couldn't sleep, and so I got up, and it used to be that our main living room was right next to the master bedroom, and so I put on the Holy Mountain.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
It's good. You'd enjoy it, and it's not so dark and weird, but it's very avant-garde and strange. And I'm not thinking about it. I'm just not sleeping. I trained myself many years ago. If I have some bout of insomnia, I just get up. Don't lay in bed and kick the sheets, especially if you're sleeping with somebody else in the bed. You just got to get up. And so, but then like 2 hours later, my lady comes out rubbing her eyes because the soundtrack was too loud, and she's trying to focus. Like, what am I looking at? I'm like, oh no. So I stopped it, like, no, don't try to understand this. That's not going to help you.
That's the one where, yeah, I'm going to have to check that one out, bro.
It's good. Jodorowsky, yeah. You enjoy it. It's good.
Here, let me see something before we get out of here. I think I've made this meme already. I want to make one with this one, but I think I've already made it.
I'm also a bit of a homunculologist myself.
Yeah, when someone talks about homunculus. But I think I already did it once upon a time. I'm double checking, but yeah, I think it might have been done a long while ago.
Well, that makes sense. I always wonder, like, homunculologist. Part of me wants to say homuncologist.
Oh, I did. I did. I made it on November 28, 2022.
Nice. Dude, I almost every single day, I've got so many pictures and art and memes in my Google Drive, my photos, and my Google Photos. And so I get the idea, just like you said, like, I got to double check. And so, and of course, it's also a game I'm playing with Google Photos AI. Like, if you search the F word or various other terms, it won't pop up, which to me is very annoying. Like, just your AI can definitely read the text that's in these photos. So,
yes.
If I want to find the one that says the F word, please bring it to me. But I get lost and find old stuff that I made all the time. And then I get sentimental and I start, I'm looking at a certain day and I'm like, well, if this is what I did on April 2nd, 2019, what did I do the whole month of April? I want to see. And so then it's 4 hours later. I've sent pictures to my mom. I've sent pictures to my little sister of her kids that I found. I found memes that make me laugh, and I'll text them to Jim Maiden in the middle of his workday. It happens all the time. I get lost.
So a meme can go as far as to serve as a little mind palace, because you're able to enter that meme and interact with everything that meme is attached to. And I mean, the funny part about that is that a meme is literally the smallest piece of information. So you construct a meme which will serve as your mind palace. You know what I'm saying?
To me, a meme is like good job training. At a really good job, they've written all the manuals and training material and reference material, policies we call it, for the lowest common denominator. So, not people who are actually developmentally disabled, but close to it. That's your lowest level person that's in the dishwasher at the pizza restaurant, right? all the material is created in such a way that he can understand it even up to the management level if it's a good business. That's the way it should be, right? So that you have everything, it's a system. It's not like one guy's an expert and if he quits then everyone's going to be up short. To me, a meme is the same thing. Like all of the information is reduced down like a good sauce that you make on the stove to the most basic. It could even be down to just 2 or 3 syllables and everybody gets it. That's how a good meme works.
Yeah. Because that relatability is what I think makes it grow. Like, because people see some of themselves in that thing.
Yeah.
And then they attach themselves to it.
If they laugh like Beavis or Butthead, we won.
Dude. I have to have you on more often, Sean. I had fun
Anytime
today,
you want,
bro.
man. Just hit me up.
I had fun today. I had reserved this. I put this to the side. This is a book that... Well, it's not a book. It's more of it's a journal, I guess, from the Warburg Institute, and Magick and the classical tradition. And funny story with this book is I got it for one. It's, I don't know how many pages. It's 200 something pages, and I got it for one article in here. I got it for the, let's see here. I got it for the hell's he at? David Pingree, From Hermes to Jabir and the Book of the Cow. I got it for that one there because this thing this isn't available on the internet, and I was gonna read some stuff from it, but if we got stuck anywhere, I was gonna whip it out and read some stuff from it because it's got a lot of interesting.
So you already read the one about the cow, though?
Oh, 100%, yeah. That's a homunculus research there. David Pingree is an OG, rest in peace, who was translating the Book of the Cow, and before it was complete, he passed on. So, but he is an OG in the homunculus realm. Now they don't call it the homunculus, and these researchers don't see it as homunculus. They see it more as, well, Pingree for one thought that the homunculus was an artificial demon, which is one of my favorite theories, where it's like you're creating either a demonic entity,
right,
an abomination, and literally, or you are creating a vessel for a demonic entity to inhabit. Now, where it gets interesting is he believed that it was so demonic that the practitioner would become possessed to create the homunculus. That the process in which the creator, the alchemist, whoever was to, which they weren't alchemists at that time, they were called something else.
This is pre alchemy as we know it.
Exactly. This is, I guess it'd be early alchemy. I guess.
Right, but they were still calling themselves something else. They weren't calling themselves alchemists.
Yeah. They were calling themselves, physician magicians, pretty much, is what
right.
what they were. And so,
right, doctor with a K.
Yeah, the practice of creating the homunculus transforms the creator into.
Well, me and you both checked out that Joseph Lazowski book, and I would argue, according to that writing, that it appears to be very much true.
That was a really interesting book, bro. I actually enjoyed that book quite a lot. I thought it was very well written. Now, at the end, the source was "Trust me, bro," because of course he didn't take any pictures or anything like that. But
right. The tone and the vibe didn't seem confabulated or exaggerated to me. It seemed pretty accurate, but that's just it. You have to decide in your heart for yourself. Do you trust these people or not? And your default should be set on a little bit not, in my opinion, in life in general. Like, it's not that you shouldn't trust people, but you have to be aware of how many weird, bad, and not well people there are. But the tone of a piece of writing really affects my ability to invest in it. And it sounded pretty legit to me, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I forgot who it was. It wasn't Rigardi, right? Who was he working with?
With Albertus.
That's right. Brother Albertus. Their father. Yeah, that's right.
What was his last name? Albertus or Paracelsus?
Was it father?
It was Frater Albertus, I guess.
Frater Albertus.
Albert Richard Riddell.
Riddell,
whatever his name is. But yeah, people should check that book out. I forgot the name of it.
Let's see if I book here that I've been trying to twist your and who is it? He's the guy that did the best work on the Bach saga.
Israel Regardie and the Philosopher's Stone, the alchemical arts brought down to earth. That's the book right there.
Right. Yeah, because that's right. They're talking about Regardie, but it's Albertus who Albertus was helping Regardie, right?
Well, they were kind of sort of it was a conspiracy. They were trying to force this Joseph idiot to do the work for them in some sort of weird way. They were trying to gaslight him into it's like, you don't care about the great work, bro?
Right.
Sean,
right.
You don't care about the great
Peer pressure.
work? What kind of
Peer
alchemist
pressure.
are you, bro?
So here's
You
the little
have
book I
to do
bought.
this.
I've mentioned this one to you guys in passing. So this book is called Aceteria, Acetaria. And let me look at the main page here. A Discourse of Salads, spelled Sallets, by Jesrs, author of Calendrium. So he wrote a book about the calendar too. And it's literally like a philosophical discourse about salad. About what things you include in the salad, whether or not you put oil on the salad, how much salt and pepper to put on the salad, whether or not you use vinegar in the salad, what time to pick everything. Listen,
Sean, I think that book that you have in your hand is an actual piece of occult literature that is occulted as...
This is an occult blind? You think this is an occult blind?
100%, bro. And you know how I know? Because in Full Metal Alchemist, they had a book on how to make teas and stuff like that. And it was about how to create the Philosopher's Stone. So your little book there on how to create salads is actually an alchemical manuscript on how to create.
This might be the homunculus instructions you've been looking for. Now here, let's see. Now look at that. I never noticed this big old fold out in here. Look at that. What's it say here? It says, this is like ordering and culture. So this is, yeah. So like, and we got endive, chicory, celery, sweet fennel, champignons. All the vegetables are in this column, and then it's telling you what to do with them.
The esoteric salad.
Yeah, the philosophy of salad. See, because I'm starting to think that I am reincarnated from somebody who was important in the realm of salad, because I've always been the guy who makes a great big salad. Like, and it's a joke with me and my lady because she likes to be out at the grill and I don't even eat meat, but she's the one that's going to bust out and like make some good chickens on the wood soaked planks or make the steak on top of the big salt block, and I'm in the kitchen making a salad, that's just the way it is. And so then I've long since taken it upon myself. Like, I'm the salad guy. Like if someone says, oh, we need someone to make a salad, I'm like, that's me, man. I'm the one that has to do it. I got to make the salad, I brought some salad to my neighbor yesterday. I got a 70-year-old neighbor. We were both home alone for the 4th of July. So I ran up to the store and bought do you guys call potato wedges JoJo's in Florida?
No, we don't.
In the Pacific Northwest, they call them JoJo's. It's a JoJo. And you can test the person's knowledge when you call it a JoJo, depending on how far away you are from the Pacific Northwest. Now, if you're in the Pacific Northwest, anywhere, if you go to Seattle and say, hey, you're at Albertson, say, could you give me a pound of those JoJo's? They'll know exactly what you're talking about. But if you get a little closer to Montana, they might be thinking, like, what's a JoJo? You trying to insult me or something? What does that mean?
Yeah.
But
don't come to Florida speaking that nonsense, bro. You got punched in the throat. Like, can I get some?
All right, I'm ready.
Get punched.
Some JoJo's. Like, that's my sister's name is JoJo.
Yeah. Damn it, dude. Yeah, I think that book is a tome of hidden secrets, and I think it actually holds the secrets of the Philosopher's Stone. That's why it's the philosophy of. I think it's, and not the philosophy of salad. It's the Philosopher's Stone. So the philosophy of salad.
Yeah. Aceteria. I looked up this word once before.
Philosopher's Stone. You see how we can etymologically tie it in there, right? So
the word aceteria means salad.
Aceteria.
That which is prepared with oil and vinegar.
Philosopher's Stone. Mm-hmm.
Genitive aceterianorium. I think I added a syllable there.
You're the only person I know who has that book. So you might be you might have, some hidden knowledge there. But
Well, you know, the thing your guest there, the guy who started Ong's Hat, said that really stuck with me. Other than that, he would help you go into the woods and only drink water for 4 days if you wanted to. What the idea to take 2 weeks off of the internet and get out into nature and relax. To me, that's really what I need to do with this book. I need to just get this book and some water, and go out and just get far enough away that I can listen. Don't hear nothing. All right, let's read Esoteria and see what it has to say.
Oof. You might unlock the secrets of reality, bro, by doing that. And I think there's multiple ways of achieving that, of being able to break free. And maybe the philosophy of salads is one of them. So
yeah, a discourse on salads. SALLETS. That always cracks me up every time I see it.
Sean, let people know where they can find you, bro.
Well, back to what I said at the beginning, best place to find me is sbalger.com. Some of that information is a little stale, so it may not be perfectly accurate, but you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram. A good place to view me interacting live with an audience is usually every Saturday night over on the Weaving Spiders Webs channel, and I'm pretty sure there's a link to that on my webpage also. But I'm going to send Juan a link. And there's going to be a special bonus for anyone that buys an SB Alger shower curtain from Fine Arts America. I'm going to make sure that he has the link. And just like I did for my coach, Beth Martins, if you find the perfect shower curtain, but you're looking at it and it doesn't vibe with your color scheme, you just got to hit me in the DMs or message Juan, and I can modify the colors and re-upload specifically for you. There's not too many, I'll even do it for free, but if we get 5 or 10 people, then they're going to have to be an upcharge on the custom shower curtains. So.
Yes, sir. Make sure to check that out. Links will be down in the description. And make sure, guys, to check out the Occultist Munday, the new Homunculus edition. This is not Saint Germain. This is not, what was the other one? I forgot what somebody else said. It was either Saint Germain or another immortal alchemist. This is actually Johann von Kufstein and his 10 homunculi. All right, so that's him there. And it's 88 pages of homunculus. Goodness, here's the brazen head. I did a whole chapter on oracular heads, which is about the again, this concept of the head that'll prophesize to you. And I got some
book 58.
Yeah, and I got some sick ass dividers there. You can't really see that one, but got some sick dividers on there.
Yeah, I gotta buy that.
TJOJP.com or Ko-Fi.com/TJOJP. You can get the comic book on there, as well as these aren't for sale on there, but you can use code TJOJP over on paranormality.com for a discount on that. And yeah, patreon.com/the101podcast. Streaming every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern on the One Media YouTube channel or twitch.tv/101 podcast. And yeah, I think that's about it. Nothing else. You had anything else you wanted to leave the people with, Sean, before we get out of here?
I don't think so. Just support Juan and what he's doing, and we'd love to see you in the comments over on the Weaving Spiders Webs channel sometime. Really appreciate it. It was a wonderful talk. I enjoyed it very much. I always learn something new from this interaction, whether it's live on the air like this, or if it's just running the replays on the Patreon while I'm busy working in my shop. Always learning something new, and I appreciate it.
Awesome. We appreciate you. As always, everyone, catch you on the other side. Bye-bye now.